Welcome to this industry spotlight. I'm delighted to be welcomed by Zen Valli, who is the Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing at RMS Cloud. Zen has recently joined the RMS Cloud team and brings more than a decade of international hospitality tech experience. He is an expert in his field, pinpointing industry challenges and finding solutions for hospitality businesses with innovative PMS technology. So Zen, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. That was a very swishy intro, actually, wasn't it?
Really? Well, there you go. That's brilliant. That's exactly what we wanted to be. So thank you again. And RMS Cloud has been a huge supporter of the industry supplier program. We can't thank you enough for that. Certainly ASAP could not exist without the suppliers and supporters. So we really are very grateful to you. So tell us a bit about RMS Cloud then, if you would.
So RMS Cloud, who we are. RMS Cloud, we are sorry, I got tongue-tied then as I was talking. We're a global PMS provider, and we're not just a PMS provider, we're actually kind of regional based in every single territory that we're in. So originally, we were founded 35 years ago in Australia. We've got offices in the UK, which oversees the UK and Europe, offices in America, in Asia, in India as well, so around the globe. But to put a bit of a personal touch on this, I actually came across RMS Cloud when I was working with a different company a couple of years ago in Asia. And no salesperson probably ever wants to admit this, but I lost a deal to RMS Cloud at the time. Okay. And I could not for the life of me figure out why I had lost this deal. So after speaking to one of the key decision makers at the service department group that I lost this deal to, he actually gave me a product tour of RMS Cloud after they'd implemented, and I was absolutely blown away with the amount of functionality and features that were available for service department providers. I mean, to name a few, they had owned properties and they managed properties for other owners as well within this group. I'm not going to name the specific group, but within this group, they did that as well. So the owners could actually log in through an owner portal and see how their apartments were doing in terms of revenue, how much cost they were going to be incurring, things like that. And even down to housekeeping with the housekeeping portals that we have, with the other really awesome features that we have. We're not just a property management system that you'd see on the market. There's actually a lot more depth to RMS Cloud, which is what makes us quite unique.
And what does it mean for service department industries most specifically then?
So with the service department industry, we specialize in the service department industry just down to the amount of customization we can do for each brand that we work with. With the brands that we've worked with in the UK, such as Cheval, Mansley, and we work with larger groups globally as well, whether it's a standalone service department, block with service departments in there that are selling, or whether it's a management company that are managing service departments around a specific region, we've got the customization available, not just in the property management system, but in the booking engine as well, where it allows them to manage all of that under one enterprise solution, whether that is to do with availability, whether that's to do with inventory, whether that's to do with their rates and rate management. It's really customizable based on who we're working with, which is why we do really, really well in the service department industry.
Okay. And what about how RMS Cloud have reacted to the changes, the significant changes within the accommodation and travel industry of late? How has that worked for you?
The dreaded C word. Excuse me. In relation to how we've adapted to the changes, there's kind of two key areas in this, and I think a lot of hospitality tech companies will identify with this. On one hand, we've had to be quite reactive with the global changes, with the lockdowns, with the local restrictions, because we are a global company. And on the other hand, we were quite proactive back in March, where we've already got a guest portal, a really cool guest portal, where customers can pre-check in, take contactless payments, things like that. So all of that was already incorporated. But what we then did within 2 weeks actually is developed a whole kind of COVID track and trace for service departments to then allow their customers to actually complete a series of questions in line with government bodies around the world. And they could customize that in the property management system based on the local changes that they were having in their regions as well. So we rolled that out free of charge to our customers. So we weren't profiting from it. It was just to help our customers around the globe. And from a revenue perspective as well, we saw a lot of our customer base were I don't know if suffering's the right word, but with the lower revenue streams coming in, we were helping and assisting with that as well. And just some other kind of functionalities that we already had actually, but they weren't utilizing this format. So a lot of our service departments started offering quarantine packages, and I think you've seen that more and more now. So within the system, there was already a piece of functionality there which could outline and identify that this guest was a specific type of guest. So we changed that to identify and highlight that this guest would then be a quarantine guest. So housekeepers on their portals could identify that this guest is quarantining, so they could take the right kind of restrictions and follow the right procedures when it came to servicing, when it came to deep cleans, things like that, and even down to kind of public area cleans as well.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, and we're having these conversations. It's shameless plug for your business, but tell us a bit about the brands and who you're working with at the moment.
This is a bit of a shameless plug, actually. So, I mean, I touched on a couple of the brands that we work with specific to the UK who are ASAP members as well and speak very highly of you guys, which is great. And globally, on a global perspective, I don't know if you've seen, but recently we released some PR and marketing around the Ascot Group, who have over 100,000 keys. Sorry, I can't talk again. 100,000 keys globally. They've got over 200 properties. They've got some specific properties to the UK, such as the Citadines in London. And we were selected. It was quite a long RFP process, which started in 2017. But we were selected from over 200 PMS vendors, and not speaking for the Ascot, but feedback that I've had specifically from individuals who work there is that they looked at multiple different PMS vendors, but no PMS vendor could meet their needs when it came to one enterprise solution and managing their diverse and massive portfolio under that one platform, whether it came to managing rates, whether it came to managing inventory or ever-changing inventory as well, to be fair, or whether it came to kind of reporting and things like that. RMS came out on top, which is great news for us, I guess. And a bit of a shameless plug in this interview, but hey ho.
Well, that's the opportunity. So tell us about the future then. What are your growth ambitions in the UK and, well, presumably European market and further afield?
Yeah, I was actually looking at the UK and European growth strategy earlier today. So it's at the forefront of my mind. But in relation to the growth strategy for the UK and Europe, any decision that we make in relation to growth, we need to look into our current customer base first. And what I mean by that is we do have ambitious plans, RMS Cloud, across the UK and Europe and globally as well, but not at the expense of the level of service that we currently offer our customer base, our existing customer base. And they're at the forefront of any decisions that we make, even when it comes down to any development work that we put into the system. Thankfully, through this pandemic, we're still doing quite well. We've expanded into one new territory within the European market, which is great. And we've seen some really good interest in RMS Cloud and the brand awareness that we're trying to get out to market currently. We can see some results in that. So I would just say watch this space and see what happens. But we do have some really good growth ambitions across the UK and Europe.
Well, let's be part of that with you. Thank you very much again for your time, Zen, and thanks for all your efforts and all of the support that you give the association.
Likewise, thank you very much for having me.